So you are able to see the board, right?
So,
One second. Yeah, so now you are able to see everything, right? You are able to hear also. Okay. So we will start our class itself, So last class, so if you remember, is last week we have started this, the finite difference. Okay. So this you followed it. We have seen in our last class. So we have started this finite difference method. Okay, to solve the equations of this motion itself. And of course, last week we have also started this viscoelastic. Okay, so this also we have seen. So if it is a viscoelastic material, say, okay, so the stress strain relations, all those things we have seen in our last class. Okay. So now, so I think I have already told you in finite difference method, the most important thing is, I think last class we have seen it, consistency, then you see we have this convergence. Okay. Then we have, a stability. So then we have even the dispersion. Okay, so these are very important things. Okay, so we have to quantify. Okay, so whether your method is stable, whether it is a dispersion, I already told you. Okay, so stability is related something with respect to time. Okay, so if we have solutions as the time is progressing, so if the solutions are diverging like this, so this is unstable kind of a thing which we have. Then dispersion is somehow it is related, of course it is a combination of time and space. So generally it is basically a space kind of a thing. So like the shape of the wave changes. Okay, so the shape of the wave is changing, say, okay, suppose if the medium is undamped also, the shape of the wave changes, say. So initially at x is equal to 1 meter, say, let us say the wave is like this. Now at x is equal to 10 meters or some other place, you see suddenly the wave you followed it, it becomes like this, say. Okay, so this we call as a dispersion kind of a thing. So the shape itself changes. So now these are very important thing which we have to do when you are solving it in a finite difference method. Okay, so last class we also told that in finite differences, so we have displacement formulation, all kinds of things are there. Okay, or displacement, velocity, stress formulation, then velocity, stress formulation, then pure displacement formulation. So many things are there also. Okay, then I think last class we have also seen the time and the spatial schemes. Okay, so this also we have seen. See, like for example, in finite difference you have three type of things. One is forward difference, then we have a backward difference, then we have a central difference. Okay, so now let us say you have forward difference in time, forward difference in space, then you will get one type of a formulation. Suppose one side in time you do backward, in space you do central, you will get another type of a scheme. So now based on that variety things comes up. But if you use so which you have to remember is, suppose if I use central difference, okay, in both time and space. In time also it is a central difference, in space also it is a central difference. What do you call this scheme? So anybody remember last class we discussed what is this scheme? What is this scheme where you are doing central difference time, central difference, leapfrog technique. Okay,
leapfrog.
just one second. Hello, hello, tell me. Yes, 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 yes. But till it is taking backup, it is still taking backup. Okay, then do it. No? Where are you? Outside? You come. I am having class. You come. Okay. Oh, sorry. Now, what do you call this type of a scheme? No. So leapfrog scheme, we call actually. Okay. So like this, we have variety of schemes are there which can be used, to solve this equations itself. Okay. So now let us see, now suppose as already we told you. So if you are having any partial differential equation, if you have any, ordinary differential equations, generally, we write solutions. You see. Like for example, if you are having in a dynamics course, okay, so mu double dot like this, if we have say, so generally how do you write the solution for this expression? So how do you solve this equation? What is the solution you write? How do you represent u? In structural dynamics you have done, right? How do you write u?
E to the power and lambda
E
t.
to, yes,
E
e
to
to
the
the power
power.
of, yes, fantastic. Okay, so these type of solutions you write. Now suppose since we are having a partial differential equation, and if it is one dimension, so with respect to x and t actually, okay, so then like last class we said, right, you write in terms of plane harmonics, so e to the power of, I omega t minus kx kind of a thing. It is both of them are same actually. Okay, so with respect to, so same exponential you use. Now here you do with respect to, the time and space itself. Okay, so this is so now this is how we use the plane harmonic wave solution. And I think last class I already told you, so we have a phase velocity which is defined as, omega by k itself. Okay, and this c is same as our, I think, the shear wave velocity of the medium, or the p wave velocity of the medium itself. Okay, so this also we have seen in our last class. Okay, so now when you are doing it in a finite difference format, say, so how do we represent this plane wave? Okay, so x comma t, so e to the power of, I omega t, minus kx. Okay, so now when you are doing it in a finite difference format, say, okay, so this because you are discretized your time as well as space, so we write like this. Okay, so I think I already, you people are clarity is there, right? What is the notation here? So now superscript indicates what and subscript indicates what? So last class we wrote for phi, I think you remember.
Time and space.
So superscript indicates the time. Okay, so there will be only one superscript because you are having time, and your subscripts say they indicate, x, y, and z. So right now we are doing in one dimension, so there is only one subscript below. Okay, so if you write it in numerically, so you can write this as, so I into, you see, so your omega m into delta minus, k at some I into h itself actually. So this is how we represent a plane wave in finite difference. Okay, so where m and k, so your omega bar say, so these are in the finite difference. In generality, in general they may be complex or they may be real also. Suppose if you take general case, say, so you have a real part plus I into, imaginary part also will come, then you have this k bar. Okay, so this also can be real or this also can be imaginary also. Okay, like last previously we have seen, what does this imaginary components tells us? You remember imaginary components, what do they
Not sure.
viscous damping. Okay, so these of them, finally when you write the solution and try to solve the your equation, so imaginary terms comes in terms of the damping, and I will be there. So I into I square kind of a thing you have, so they indicate, you see, the damping kind of thing. So here also one two important things were indicating. So this imaginary part in the frequency, say, okay, so generally this is known as dissipation. Okay, so this is known as a dissipation, whereas the imaginary portion, say, this we call as attenuation actually. Okay, so two words are there. So attenuation, then dissipation. So dissipation is with respect to time. Okay, attenuation is with respect to space, like at 10-kilometer distance, then at 100-kilometer distance, 200-kilometer distance, how the amplitudes are decreasing, so that we call as attenuation. Now with respect to time, say, like you have studied in your dynamics course also, how it is decaying in time, so that we call as, you see, dissipation actually. Okay, so these are two separate things itself. So if you write that expression, say, so u, I, m, so if you take all the imaginary portion and this one, so you can write this as e to the power of this omega imaginary, where m is your time step, number of that, the integer, and delta is your time step. Okay, so plus so k imaginary, so capital I times h actual. Okay, so this expression will be there, and you have your old this real part to say. So real part of our scheme, so this is I into omega real, so m times delta minus k real part. Okay, so I into h itself actual. Okay, so this quantity say, so this indicates dissipation, both attenuation, both of them are combined. Okay, so dissipation and attenuation. So whereas this now your phase velocity say, so now the new phase velocity in your finite difference scheme becomes, so omega real by k, you see the real portion itself. So this is our phase velocity in finite difference approach. So when you discretize the thing, so of course you may have imaginary, you may have these things, but I am writing it in a general format. So this is our phase velocity. So in the original scheme say, so in the originally the phase velocity is defined as, you see, omega by k. But since we have discretized say, so now so this becomes, you see, this type of a format actually. Okay, so now so now let us write our so now displacement formulation let us use. Okay, so now to just understand all these very important things, this is a very easy displacement formulation to understand stability, dispersion, so this becomes very easy. So now what is meant by displacement formulation? So last class you followed it. Of course, if you take one dimension, okay, so you are not you are neglecting y and you are neglecting also z. So in the displacement formulation in our continuum mechanics, so all the equations, stresses, then strains, everything is converted into displacement. Even the equation of motion also is converted into displacement itself. So our equation becomes dou square u by, you see, dou t square is equal to so dou by dou x, so m into dou u by dou x. So this is our the one dimensional the equation of motion for a continuum. Okay, so let us see this one, displacement formulation. Let us try to understand the importance of stability and then dispersion of the mesh itself. So now this equation says, so now if we represent a leapfrog scheme actually. Okay, now what do you mean by leapfrog scheme? Just now we told, right? So what is that you have to do? So this derivative, so you are having two derivatives actually. Okay, so if m is constant, say, you can write this as dou square u by dou x square. So both of them are second derivative in time, second derivative in space. So now if you take a leapfrog scheme, say, what do you do? How do you represent these two derivatives? Forward or backward or central?
Central difference.
So time also central, space also central. Okay, so leapfrog scheme. So now so if you write this derivative in a finite difference, so u I, okay, so m plus 1, this is with respect to time, the derivative. So 2 ui m plus so ui m minus 1. So this is your time derivative, that is the second derivative. Okay, so here this side so if you write in terms of velocity, say, so that rho you can bring this side, so m by rho you can make it into this phase velocity and you can compute. So now this becomes c square by 1 by h square. So now you are writing here the spatial derivative. Okay, so I plus 1 minus 2 times I m plus um I minus 1 actually. Okay, so this is our central difference the derivative. So c square is m by rho itself, and this is also same as your phase velocity also. Okay, so this is our finite difference representation of our equation of the displacement formulation. So this equation if you write in terms of nicely, so uy m plus 1 say. Okay, so you pull all the terms this side, so you can write this as 2i m minus so ui, so we have m minus 1 plus c delta by h, the whole square is here. So then you have u I plus 1 m, so minus 2 ui m plus so u I minus 1 m. Okay, so this is our the time marching equation. Okay, so if you know the velocity at the times m and m minus 1 say. Okay, and then you also know the velocities at spatial position I plus 1 I and then I minus 1. So this equation can be used to advance time, okay, in the time marching scheme. So if you know u at 1 second say, so at 2 seconds you can estimate from this expression itself. Okay, so now so the original equation say is so dou square u by dou t square. Okay, so minus c square dou square u by dou x square. So this was our original, the equation. Now our final difference equation here is nothing but, so this how we have represented is, so 1 by del square, say, okay. So ui m plus 1 minus 2 ui m plus, ui m minus 1. So these are derivative with respect to time. So minus, c square by h square. So you have, ui plus 1 m minus 2 times uy m plus so um I minus 1. So these are final difference approximation of our wave equation. So now if you try to find out the truncation consistency, okay. Now what do you mean by consistency? The last class I already told you. How do you check consistency of the equation? Now see, last class I told you.
0, h tends to 0.
No, we told something. So if you want to do a consistency is different, convergence is different. Okay. So if you want to check convergence, so convergence you check in terms of use actual, the variables. Consistency means the equation itself. Okay. So last class, I have already told you. Okay. So this is a truncation error. Okay. So if you try to find out the truncation error of your finite difference equation. So first of all, you have to check this itself. So now, so this is Taylor, the expansion here. Okay. So of your finite difference, the equation minus, you see, the original equation. So the original equation is, dou square u by dou t square minus c square and dou square u by dou x square. And your finite difference equation is this one actual. Okay. So now this minus this, if you subtract and then you expand in terms of Taylor series. So finally this turns out to be 1 by 12. So dou to the power of u by, you see, dou t to the power of 4. So del square, so minus c square. So dou to the power of u by, you see, dou x to the power of 4. So h square plus, the higher order terms which we have neglected in the Taylor series, they all have, delta to the power of 4, delta h to the power of 4 itself. So this is how, the equations, you see, looks like this. And because you have this del square, the square terms are there, say here. So this orders, so this goes, or if you see the inside, say, so we have this errors actually. Okay, so the accuracy we can call this as, so second order, the accuracy we say generally. Okay, so this solution, say, so second order accuracy in time and space. So generally the first whatever you have done, so you have to just compare with the original equation and expand in terms of Taylor series, you will get this, the consistency itself. So the consistency of our representation is second order. So generally, we write like this also, 2 comma 2. So which means second order in time, second order in space itself. So like this also, we do. So this is our consistency of our equation. Okay. So now let us check for the dispersion. Okay. So now first let us write, you see, ui of m. So now to check the stability, say. So now, like you see in dynamics, how do you check stability of any equation? See, suppose somebody gives you, a partial differential equations or ordinary differential equation, some equation you have. Now somebody asks you, you first check the stability of a equation. So how do you check stability of a differential equation? Now, how do you check? See, like for example, in dynamics, okay, so mu double dot, this one. Somebody asks you to check stability of this equation. How do you check the stability? So how do you check whether the equation is stable or not?
Solution should be unbounded. I mean, should decrease with time.
Followed. It should be unbounded. So for that, how do you check? So how do you check stability? So in dynamics, you people have already done, maybe without knowing that one. So if I have any ODE, say, first of all, how do you write the solution of this dynamics class, this solution? So we substitute u is equal to e to the power of lambda t. You people pointed out, right? So now what do? You substitute u in this expression, okay? So you will get a, a algebraic equation in terms of lambda, some lambda square, some lambda. Something like that you will get actual. Okay, so now what do? You solve the solution, you will find the roots. So let us say you have two roots actually, lambda 1 and lambda 2. Now, how do you write the solution? You remember, like this, lambda 2t some a, you write like this. Now, suppose if both the roots are real, what happens? Say both are real roots, say. Now, what happens? Real and positive roots you have got. What does it tells you? So your lambda 1 is, the first root what you have got is, it is a real root, and it is, let us say, 2 you have got. Now what does it tells you?
Exponential increase, that means.
So like this you write. So what does it tells you? U is equal to e to the power of 2t. So what does it means? So with the time it is basically, what is happening? If you try to plot this one.
Increasing exponential.
Solution is increasing.
So what do you mean? What is that meaning of this one? Whether it is a stable or unstable?
Unstable. It is unstable.
Unstable. So now, how do you check the stability of a differential equation? So what generally we do is, you write the solution like this. Okay. You substitute in your ODE or PD or whatever, then you find out roots. If the roots are real and positive, you followed, right? And if the solution, so that itself will tell you about your stability actually. Okay. So if you want to check any differential equation, say whether it is stable or not, so this is how we check in our mathematics. Okay. So now here the thing what we are having is, it is not ordinary differential equation. We have, a partial differential equation. So for partial differential equation, if you want to check stability, say what do you do? What do you do here? Let us say now for our solution x comma t, it is a space and time. How do you check its stability? I have given you clue for dynamics. Same thing, you dump, you followed it. You can try here also. What do you do? What you should assume? Your u, x comma t. Now what you should do now? So now it is a partial differential equation. So now what you have to do? So now in dynamics, I told you, right? If it is one dimension, say, you can use e to the power of lambda t. Okay. Suppose if it is in space equation, say, then you can use e to the power of lambda x, and you try to find out the roots actually. So now the same concept here also. So what do you do? So your ux comma t, you substitute your plane wave itself actually. Okay. So the just whatever we have done previously, you write the solution, say like this. I omega bar, so m delta minus, k I h actually. Okay. So these anyway we are writing in a finite difference. So we write like this. Suppose if it is a continuous system, say. Okay. So if you want to try to find out a continuous system, so we substitute I into omega t minus kx into our partial differential equation. You substitute, say, and then you find out roots, and all those things. So they themselves will tell you whether your solution is stable or not actually. Okay. So so whatever you have done in dynamics, e to the power of lambda t, same thing only. So now since it is a partial differential equation, so you write e to the power of lambda x, e to the power of lambda y, e to the power of lambda z, you substitute in your equation, and then you will automatically find out the roots, and then you see the imaginary component if it is there, say. So if it becomes a positive, whether the solutions are stable or not actually. Okay. So generally, to understand stability, say, for any partial differential equation or ordinary differential equation, what one does is, you assume the solution to be this type of format. Okay. So you substitute in your equation, and then you verify the roots, and then the solution, whether it is going bounded or bounded kind of a thing, to find out, to check its stability. So this generally in mathematics, we call this as von Neumann actually. Okay. So von Neumann, stability analysis. So this is what this Neumann suggested long back. Okay. So any equations, a heat equation, wave equation, whatever equations you have, say. So everybody, if you want to check its stability, you substitute, and then you do our calculations. Okay. So now let us check our stability, not of our equation, but of our finite difference scheme. Okay. So now we have to check our stability of our finite difference scheme, not our original wave equation. Okay. So now we have to check this finite difference scheme. So same concept we use. You have to use I omega t minus kx. Now since it is a finite difference method, say we use this expression itself. Okay. So we write you followed, right? So u I m. Okay. So this is you followed, right? So if you write that expression, so e to the power of I omega bar m into delta minus k I into h actual. Okay. So this is, we substitute this in our expression. Okay. So now if we denote this as some capital E kind of a thing, say. So now what will be ui m plus 1? So what will be m plus 1? So see here uim is this expression. So now you have to calculate ui m plus 1. So you have to substitute wherever m is there, say m plus 1. So now when I substitute m plus 1, what happens, so this m plus 1 can be separated. So once again you will get e to the power of y omega m delta minus kh you will get, plus this one additional term will come actually. Okay. So you can write this as capital E into e to the power of I into omega into delta itself. Okay. The same expression. So where E is nothing but your this expression. Now in a similar fashion, say, so you can write uy m minus 1. So this becomes the same as this itself minus I omega hat into delta. Now similar fashion, say uvm I plus 1. Now we are talking it in space. So now this becomes e to the power of minus I k h itself you will get. Okay. So now u m then I minus 1. Okay. So this becomes capital E to the power of I k h actual. Okay. So we can write all the finite difference expressions. So now we substitute, say, in our substitute all of them. Okay, all the above terms, say. Okay, in our finite difference expression, the finite difference equation. Okay, so that is what is our finite difference equation. So we have already written here. So this is our finite difference equation. Okay, this expression or whatever. So this equation, you see, you substitute all the terms itself to say. Okay, so you will get a nice expression like this. So automatically many of them will get cancelled. So finally you will get a terms like this. So cos of omega hat into delta, so minus 1. So c into delta by h whole square. So cos of k bar h minus 1. So this like this we will get to these two expressions where delta is anyway a spatial time increment. Okay. Last class also same notation we are using. H is your spatial increment. Okay. So now so we can this equation, say, we can solve. So omega hat if you take this side, so what happens is so minus 1, if you dump that side it becomes 1 plus, and omega hat, say, it becomes cos inverse actually. Okay. So we can write this expression as so if you write nicely this omega hat, say, okay, this becomes 1 by delta. So arc cos, that is nothing but cos inverse. Okay. So 1 plus so c delta by h, okay, whole square, and multiplied by cos k hat into h minus 1. Okay. So this is our expression omega hat. Or you can also write in terms of k hat also, like this you dump this side, then one also dump this side, you can write for k hat also. Okay. So this also can be written as k hat, same equation only, 1 by h. So arc cos itself, so 1 plus h by c times delta whole square. So cos of omega bar delta, okay, minus 1. So this is our expression. So these equations are generally known as a numerical. Okay. So numerical dispersion relations. Okay. So because we have obtained from our finite difference framework, of course both of them are same. You can use this or this actual. So what is analytical equation? If it is undamped medium itself, say, okay. So if it is undamped medium, so what is analytical dispersion relation? What is analytical dispersion relation? So for the original wave equation, so what is the dispersion equation? See, this is our equation, right? Dou square, u by, this is our original equation. What is the dispersion here? We have said, right, what is the dispersion equation? Omega by k itself. Okay, so what is omega by k? So this is nothing but your c itself actual. So this is your analytical, that is the original wave equation actually. Okay, so analytical dispersion relation. Now, because in a finite difference format, say, because so we have discretized everything, and there is a chance of getting the negative roots and other things. So this is our numerical dispersion relation. So analytical dispersion relation is omega by k itself, or if you want to write in terms of this k, say, okay, so we can write this as k is equal to omega by c itself, or if you want to write itself, this one says, so omega becomes c times k itself. Okay, so this is our analytical dispersion relations itself. So these how so numerical dispersion also sometimes as I already told you, right, if you are working in time, say, we call this as dissipation. Okay, so if you are working in a space, say, so dispersion will come. Okay, so sometimes dissipative dispersion relations also we call them. So dispersion, dissipation relations. So these equations are also known as these type of relations actually. Okay, so now if we denote, say, this S as some C delta by H. Okay, so this is a ratio you followed it. So delta is your time increment, H is spatial increment, and C is your analytical phase velocity. So now this, if we denote this as some S, say, so okay, so this quantity, if you substitute, you can write it some nice fashion. So omega hat is 1 by delta. So arc cos, so 1 plus s square. So cos kh, say, minus 1. Okay, so you can also write like this. Okay, and similarly your k hat, say, so this also will be 1 by h. So you have arc cos. Okay, so 1 plus 1 by s square cos of your omega hat into delta minus 1. So these are our dispersion dissipation relations also. Sometimes these equations, whatever we have written here, so now right, what is cos omega delta minus 1 and cos right, cos theta minus 1. You can write in terms of sine square theta by 2 also. So this equation, say, some textbooks, some people will also write like you followed, right, sine square omega hat delta by 2 is equal to s square sine square, so k hat h by 2. So both of them are same. So if you are writing in terms of sine, they look like this. If you write in terms of cos and this one, right, you will get this equations itself. So now so these equations now we have to analyze. Okay, so now how good are these dispersion relations actually. Okay, so these are numerical dispersion relations. Now analytically, if it is a non-attenuating, there is no damping in the medium, say, I should get my relation should be, so this is the first equation, say, so this should be simply omega should be same as c times k, and this should be so k should be omega by c kind of a thing. Okay, so now we have to understand, so this is the original equation in your original equation. So now these are the numerical equations because we have done all kinds of simplifications. So now the question comes when these numerical dispersion relations, say, so when this numerical equations, okay, so are the numerical phase velocity you followed, right, will be same as analytical velocity, the exact, or I should say the exact phase velocity. Okay. So this is our question. And if it is not same, say, now what errors are going to make, or what are the conditions here, where so ideally we want this numerical phase velocity should be same as the exact phase velocity. So now when it can happen and when it can here itself. So now here there are basically so two cases are there. So worst case, if you see so grid so if, k is a physical, okay, and but omega is a grid, this one. Okay, so this is a complex. Right now we have derived for assuming both omega and k as both of them are complex itself. But now to simplify our things, we assume that k is a physical wave number. So which means k is a real value. Only omega bar is complex itself. So then let us see what happens. So if I write like this, okay, so e to the power of I. So we have a real part plus I into omega, imaginary part will be there. Okay. So this is our, so m into delta. So minus k hat I into h itself. Okay. So this we assume is like this. Only omega is complex. So if you write like this expression, so minus, so I into I becomes I square, so which becomes minus, so omega hat. So imaginary component m times delta. So then you have e to the power of I into omega hat real. So m into delta. So minus k hat say I into h actual. Okay. So this is how we write our expression. So now here we can see. So this omega imaginary term say, okay. So if it is greater than 0, so now what happens, because already there is a negative sign, so which means so the amplitude say it decreases. Okay. So amplitudes they decreases with exponentially, you see, with the time. Okay, at a given spatial position. You followed at a spatial position. Okay, so when omega imaginary say, so suppose if this is 0, okay, so which means so amplitude remains constant. So they remain, you followed it, constant in with time at a given spatial position. Okay, so this is one case. Now omega imaginary say, if it is less than 0, so now when it is less than 0, so what happens, already you have a negative sign here, so which means you followed it, your solution is unstable. Okay, just we are trying to look at the physics actual, what happens with omega I imaginary. Okay, so now if I denote this k bar h say, to make it to simplify that one, so k bar h. So if I write, so because if we assume this as k itself, analytical wave number, then the numerical wave number, both of them are same. And if you write this as so 2 pi h by, you see, the lambda. Okay, so that means so this k is nothing but 2 pi by lambda. Okay, lambda is nothing but your wavelength of your wave itself. And if you define a new quantity, okay, so n lambda, that is number of number of samples per unit wavelength, we say. So lambda by h. So now so you substitute in our equations. So omega hat becomes so in the dispersion equation, arc cos, okay, so 1 plus s square, so cos of 2 pi by n times lambda minus 1. Okay, so this is our dispersion equation. Okay, so if I write psi square say as 1 plus s square cos of 2 pi by n times lambda minus 1. If I denote this as psi square, I can write this expression as and arc cos psi say is same as pi by 2 into minus arc sine inverse psi. So if we substitute this expression, so we can write this as omega hat say is same as 1 by delta pi by 2 minus arc sine phi. So the dissipation relation, so you can write in this format itself for this case. Now if you take the second case, that is omega is physical, that means it is a real quantity, where your this is imaginary. Okay, this case, so it is same as whatever we did previously, so same thing. So if we consider this case, so then you have k imaginary I times h, and of course you have omega hat m into delta k real say, I into h itself. So here also, depending on your k imaginary, say you can have the solution maybe you see attenuative or unstable kind of a thing also you can have. So if k imaginary, say, okay, so if it is less than 0, so which means attenuation, okay, so attenuates in the grid. Now of course if k imaginary, say if it is more than 0, then you have an exponential increase. And if k imaginary is 0, so which means your amplitude remains constant. It doesn't change with spatial position, with space. Okay, so this is a non-attenuative kind of a thing. So these are the three cases. Okay, so now similarly here also you can write k hat, the same whatever we derived previously. So arc the cos, so 1 plus 1 by s square, so cos of omega hat into delta, so minus 1. So this was our dissipation dispersion equation which we wrote previously. So now if you write this omega hat, say, so omega times delta, so which means so 2 pi by t into delta. Just one second. So if you write this also in terms of 2 pi by t into this delta, and then if you denote nt is equal to some t by delta, say, okay, so you can write k hats. Okay, so this can also be written as 1 by h arc cos, so 1 plus 1 by s square, so cos of 2 pi by nt, so minus 1. Okay, so this is our same equation we are writing in terms of these type of things. And if you denote this as some psi, say, this entire expression as some psi, okay, so you can write this expression, you see k hat as so 1 by h, okay, so pi by 2 minus arc sine psi itself. So you can see, so both the cases, say one is this case, other one is this case itself. So you have two separate the expressions itself. Now if you see this equation, so this second equation, that is k hat is equal to 1 by h pi by 2 arc sine phi. And if you see the first case, okay, which we have derived here, if you see the functional forms, both of them they look exactly same to same. Only thing is so the delta, now here it is h actual, now there it was psi, now it is a sine psi kind of a thing. So both the equations say, okay, so they can be represented, both of them can be combined. Okay, so you can write in one single functional form actually. Okay, so we can write as a phi is equal to some 1 by delta, so pi by 2, say, minus arc sine some psi itself, where your phi delta, then your psi, it stands for omega hat delta psi, or for the second case, say, k h, and then you see the sides. So you can write everything in one go itself. So these are basically what we call as the numerical dispersion relations in a finite difference format. So now let us see the some interesting things we can make out from this derivation. Okay, now we can see. So now let us see for the the second case, that is this case. Let us see this one, k hat. Okay, so to have some physical meanings, we will come back to that one. So what it does, so because otherwise the derivation becomes lengthy and we will not be able to follow. So now let us see this case, the physical meaning. Okay, the second dispersion equation, say, so 1 by delta, sorry, 1 by, you see we have written as the h, I think. So 1 by h cos inverse, that is arc cos, we have 1 plus so h by, you see sorry, one second. No, 1 by you see h by you see c times delta t whole square. So cos of omega into delta. So minus 1. Okay. So this was our dispersion relation. Okay, that is this equation we have already derived previously. Where is that? Now this expression. Okay, so that is 1 plus 1 by h arc cos this equation. We are trying to see this equation, the second case. Okay, so assuming this as real. So if this case say, now let us try to see the physics. Same equation I am writing in the bottom. So anyway, yes, we have already told as c into delta by h itself. Okay, so if this equation, so let us try to see the physics actually what is really happening in numerically. Okay, so now here as already I told you in original say. So original equation is c is equal to omega by k. So which means k is equal to omega by c. This is our exact the equation. Now the thing in final difference is this type of format. When this becomes the same as this itself. Okay. So now let us say this case itself. So now in this expression say, okay. So now this quantity this cos omega delta. Okay, so this you can write in terms of Taylor series expansion. Okay, right, the expansion for sin x, cos x, they are already available, and e to the power of x. So you can write in terms of 1 plus x by x, x square by 2 factorial, minus that expressions are there. So if you try to expand that in a Taylor series format, so this equation, you can write this expression as k hat will be 1 by h. Of course, cos inverse you can write. So 1 plus so h by c times delta delta whole square. So 1 minus omega into delta t whole square by 2 minus 1. Okay, so now we are indicating we have included only one term. The first term you followed, right, or the second term. After second term we have got. So now the cost x expansion say. So we have included only the first two terms. Okay, so this gets cancelled here. So what happens is 1 by h. So cos inverse we have. So 1 plus 1, and of course this also you can some of the terms gets automatically cancelled. So this becomes 1 by half omega by c. Okay, so whole square. So delta square. Okay, so this is how you get. So omega into delta. So this is not t is not there. So delta t or delta, both of them are same. Okay. Yeah. So now so these two, some of them will get cancelled, and finally so we get a nice expression like this. 1 second, I think I'm sorry, this delta gets cancelled. So here you have h square. Okay, so this is our expression. So if you write this in a nice format, so you can also write this expression as 1 by h say cos inverse so 1 minus half. So what is omega by c? What is omega by c? See, omega by c is what?
A.
This is analytical, the wave number. You followed. So this is analytical wave number. This is a wave number in finite difference approach. Okay. So if you replace omega by c by with the k itself, analytical wave number, so you can write this as k into h square. So this is our the expression. So now here also, when delta t becomes very, very small say. So now here if you see our Taylor series expansion for cos x also we have an expansion 1 minus x square by 2 factorial, then higher order terms will be there. So when delta becomes very, very small, so time increment, we can neglect the higher order terms. So here as delta tends to 0 say. Okay, so you can, the higher order terms automatically goes back to 0. So now we have got this one. Now here also, so we can make an once again you can expand cos inverse also in terms of a Taylor series expansion say, and let us say your h actually this also tends to 0. Okay, so sorry, this is a delta t, both of them are same. So if delta tends to 0 go, and h also goes to 0, so this equation say can be written as so 1 by h. So this is your k hat. So k into h itself actually. Okay, so which k hat becomes your k itself. You follow? So this also you expand in terms of a Taylor series. So now what does it tells you? So when your finite difference wave number will be same as analytical wave number. See what is the main observation here? See what is the observation we have made here?
When delta and h are tending to 0, then k bar is k.
K bar is k itself. When delta becomes a small size, so here in the Taylor series expansion, here it goes. Okay. Now when h becomes very small size, so this Taylor series expansion also collapses to kh itself. Okay. So this is how the terms comes into picture. So this is the classical thing. So one can prove that when delta becomes 0, h becomes 0, k bar becomes k. You can do the reverse also. Okay. I have done for k. You can also prove that when delta becomes 0, h becomes 0. This also becomes this also, so you can try this. Okay, so now for this what you have to do, so now we started with the one equation, so you have to do with the second equation. Actually the first one I think we wrote right for omega bar. So this you have to use, and then you can prove that omega bar will be same as omega when delta then h both of them tends to 0, say, then also you will get the exact value itself. So this is of course one can prove also. Okay, so because this is very small, but as already I told you that when you are implementing this finite difference method on a computer, say, we cannot make delta 0 or h tends to 0 itself. So obviously it has to be this one. Okay, now here one more thing we can see here. One is what we call as magic time step. There is some the magic thing is there. That is you followed, right? So what is there is one interesting time step here, so which we call as a magic time step also. So what is that time step here? So like you say, so your delta x, okay, is same as c times delta t, or sorry, if you write in terms of h, h is c times delta. Okay, so which means what does it mean? H is equal to c times delta. So where these things are coming, see, like for example, this h is c times delta, say. Okay, so like this quantity becomes 1. You followed? So the numerator denominator, both of them are the same itself. So this is what we call as a magic the time step. So now what happens here is, oh sorry, yeah, so when this case also happens, say, okay. So when h is equal to c times the delta, so your k hat, okay, so this becomes 1 by c times delta cos inverse, say. Okay, so 1 plus cos of omega into delta minus the 1 it happens, so this gets cancelled, and anyway cos inverse cos also goes to 0. So finally we will be left with omega into delta by c into delta. So delta gets cancelled. Now what is omega by c? Just now we have written, right, what is omega by c? K itself actually, you followed. So which means your finite difference wave number is same as this wave number also. So this is a magical thing we say, where your h and delta, if they are related like this, say, so then there is a chance that k bar becomes k itself also, but this is also not possible in many numerical schemes itself. So now let us see, now let us see, we have taken some numerical schemes, say. So some sample values we take and then we check now. Okay. So now let us take some sample values. Okay, so like for example, we take c delta t is delta x by 2. So I have taken some summation like this, and then delta, sorry, this I think I am confusing with the notations. Okay, so c delta is equal to so this h by 2, and then your h, say, is some lambda naught by 10, which means we have taken 10 samples, 10 points per wavelength. Okay, so we have sampled like this. So what does it mean physically? See, if you are having a sine wave like this, say, okay, so this is our lambda. So what does it tell? Lambda naught by 10 means I have sampled with 10 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, some 5, 6, 7, 8, you see 9 and 10 points actually. So this is the meaning of this expression. Okay. So I have sampled my sine wave set with 10 points per wavelength. So which means my curve will be followed right like this. Followed. So this is how the sampling has been done in the finite difference scheme. And then we have taken C delta also as h by 2 itself. So what is meant by S? So what is S here? So S, I think we defined it previously. Where is the expression for S? This was S here. So this is our S. S is equal to C delta by H. Okay. So S is C delta by H. So now in this problem, what is the S value? So now see here, what is the S value here?
1 by 2.
1 by 2. You followed, right? So now S is 1 by 2. So H is lambda naught by 10. So now this we have taken. So now once H this one, you can find out lambda also. What is lambda delta? This a time step is basically H by 2 times C itself. So delta becomes H is nothing but lambda naught by 10. Okay. So your this also is fixed into 2c. So this your time step is we have selected time step as h by 2c, and then you are at a spatial step as some 10 lambda naught by 10 actual. So now what happens in our the dispersion equation? So the k hats. So now you substitute. So 1 by delta, so 1 by h. Okay. So cos inverse we are having. So 1 plus h by now this thing is you see, so C delta t say you can replace with h by 2 itself. Okay. So cos of omega into you see h by 2 times c minus 1. Okay. So this is our expression. So now we can simplify this expression here. So we can write this as 1 by h cos inverse. So 1 plus some HH gets cancelled. So 4 cos of so k into h by 2 minus 1. Okay. So this is our expression. So now here because we have substituted k as omega by c itself, and now k is also related to 2 pi by lambda naught. Okay. So this also because of relay, and this is h by lambda naught say is nothing but 0.1 because we have taken 10 samples per this itself. So you can substitute in this expression. So k hat say is 1 by h cos inverse. So 1 plus 4 cos of so 2 pi by lambda naught. Okay, this is our k, and you have this h by 2. So we have just substituted. Okay, so k as 2 pi by lambda naught. So h by 2 minus the 1. Okay, so this is our expression. So you can 1 gets you followed, right? This 4 minus 1 and all those things cancelled, and you can find out, and lambda naught is nothing but see lambda, this 2 gets cancelled, and lambda and h by lambda naught already the what is h by lambda naught you followed, right, is 0.1 here. So you can substitute cos of pi into 0.1, and you can solve all the terms here. So this turns out to be 1 by h cos inverse say 0.80 so which means 0.63642 by your h, and finally your phase velocity. Okay, so which is approximate phase velocity, that is c hat say is omega by your k hat. Original was omega by k itself. So now if you substitute so this phase velocity say, so you have this one. So omega is anyway 2 pi f. Okay, and k hat is 0.63642 by this h. So substitute here, and finally so c hat say this is 2 pi. Okay, so c by lambda naught h by 0.63642. So we have substituted f also. Okay, in terms of this quantity. So this turns out to be 2 pi into 0.1 by you see 0.63642 times c, and finally your phase velocity. So you do all the algebraic calculations here. So your phase velocity turns out to be 0.9873 times c for this scheme. That is, we have assumed our time step was h was so lambda naught by 10, and our time step say delta t was you see so delta, that delta was so if I write properly. Yeah, so our delta was h by 2 times c. Okay, so if you have taken like this, so now our c hat becomes 0.98373 times c. What does it mean? What is the physical meaning of this expression? No. What is the physical meaning? So now if you take this type of sampling rate, your phase velocity is 0.9873 times c. What does it tells you? Physically, what does it mean?
Velocity has decreased, sir.
It has decreased only physically. What does it tells you? The phase velocity. No. And here we are
Wavelength
talking
has
about space.
increased.
Which one?
So wavelength has increased.
No. What does wavelength has not increased? Wavelength remains lambda naught only. What does it mean? So in reality, see, suppose if the wave has passed 100 cells actually, okay. So in analytically, analytically, if the wave has to go to 100 cells, say, so to reach 100 cells, it has taken how much time? C itself. That is the velocity of the wave. But now in your finite difference scheme, say, what does it tells you? See, like for example, you have 100 cells like this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this. You followed, right? Cells are there
It has
in space.
taken lesser time, sir, compared to
Yeah,
first
so these
case.
so now what does it tells you? Originally the wave should reach this last cell. You followed, right? The 100th cell it should have reached actually. But now in your finite difference scheme, how many cells it has reached? Yeah.
So it has reached 98 cells, sir.
98 cells. So your wave is only here itself. So your wave has come up to this place. At this place, your wave has not even arrived actually. You followed, right? So this is what the error which you are making when you are doing it in a finite difference framework actually. You understand now? So this is the meaning of the phase velocity. So now your wave should have reached in the 100th cell, but now here it has not even reached the 100th cell. It has reached only 98 cells only. Now if you take 1000 kilometers, now what happens? See, like each cell is
9,800.
980. You followed, right? So 0.98.
980.
So originally when an earthquake occurs, so your wave is arriving at 1000 kilometers in reality, but when you are doing it in a numerical difference frameworks, you have not even arrived at the 1000 kilometers. You are still at 980 kilometer itself. And this is for one wave. Suppose there are several waves are there with variety frequencies like omega 1 hertz wave, 2 hertz wave, 3 hertz wave, 4 hertz or 2.5, 1.5. All kinds of frequencies are traveling in the medium cell. Like generally it happens in earthquakes. For one wave itself, you are making an error of 98 percent only. So now what happens, as the distance increases, your error also increases actually. Follow. So this is a very important thing. So distance increases, you understand. So error also increases. You followed. So 10,000 kilometers if you take, the error will be very large kind of the errors actually. Okay, it happens. So this is a very important thing in the finite difference scheme itself. Now suppose if you take delta this h as how many points right now we have taken? H we have taken as lambda naught by 10 actual. Now suppose if you take lambda naught by 20 say, okay, and then solve the same problem. Okay, so all the things are remaining same. Only thing is instead of lambda h by lambda naught is 0.1, now it is a 0.2 say. So 20 so we have sampled now your wave. Initially we have sampled the wave at 10 points. Now you are sampling at 20 points per wavelength. So which means the 10 points we have taken. So now if we sample at 20 points, say, which means very fine you followed, right? samples here. So more number of points you have put up. Then if you calculate once again all the calculations, so you will have your phase velocities in a finite difference scheme. So this turns out to be, I think, 0.99689 times your C. Now what does it tells you? No.
H
What
value. So as we take more number of points, error decreases.
No, error is fine, but what is happening? So that is not the physical interpretation. So physical interpretation is if it is 100 cells or 100 kilometers, okay? In reality, wave should have arrived at 100 kilometer. But now in your numerical scheme, wave will not come at 100 kilometer. It will come only up to this many, you followed, right? Kilometers. So these many cells are only getting excited, kind of a thing. Of course, error is decreasing. That's a different issue. But so this is what creates this dispersion actually. Okay, so this is the thing for the numerical dispersion. So the arrival times of waves will be different. Is different. You followed, right? And if delta this is decreasing, say, so when h is decreasing, what happens? Your delta t also should decrease actually. You followed, right? So this is a relationship between delta and 2c. So if h is now becoming lambda naught by 10, your delta will be some value. Suppose if h is lambda naught by 20, say, so then automatically your delta also will decrease actually. It will become very, very small kind of a thing. So now so your time step, spatial time step, if you are decreasing, say, automatically your time step also will decrease, and finally you get a phase velocity is by making 20 points, say. So you will get a slightly marginal 0.98. It has come to 0.99689 actually. Okay, so this is a very, very important thing, or very the example actually. Okay, how this numerical dispersion occurs in our finite difference method. So we have not done anything. We have not even brought this dissipation or damping in our medium. So in an undamped medium itself, okay, so if we have different types of things, there is a chance of getting error. At this error also you will see at large distances. Suppose if it is at 2 kilometer distance, then what happens? Now, suppose if distance is very, very small, say, what happens? The arrival times of waves will be more or less same only. But when you go far away, 1,000 kilometers, 10,000 kilometers, so then a deviation happens, and this creates a lot of error in your calculations. It's a very important thing in any numerical scheme. Is a very fundamental thing. Okay. So now we have to have some kind of a condition actual. So now our condition is what should be my delta x. So what delta and h we have to use in our calculations. We have to select. So such to avoid this numerical dispersion. So numerical dispersion, and of course your stability also. So this is a question mark, and of course this problem we have done for k. Now the same problem, so you can do for this case also. Okay, omega hat you can assume, and then you can start with the time, and then you do space itself. Like first here what we are doing is we are sampling space first, and then we are going to time. Now you can do the same problem. You first sample time actually. Okay, you can first you do this select this delta, and then you select your h from that the equation, the empirical equation, that's that equation, yes, based on that one, and then you can solve, you see whether this happens, or whether the waves in time also, whether you are seeing they are arriving at the same times or same the space itself. This also you can verify actually, okay, from this case also. Okay, so now to establish those constraints, we go back to our dissipation equations. So we have said that dissipation equations, whether it is with respect to wave number or with respect to frequency. Okay, so dispersion equation or dissipation equation we can write as phi is so 1 by delta, so pi by 2 minus arc sine psi. Okay, just now I wrote previously also. where phi delta, so they are basically omega hat and delta, then psi or k hat h, this expression for both the cases. Okay, so now if you see this equation carefully, we can get some meaningful conclusions. Okay, so now let us see case 1. Okay, so your psi minus 1. So now what happens when psi will be minus 1 and other things, a sine inverse. So you are having sine inverse of psi. Okay, so this psi, say if it is 1, what happens? What is sine inverse of 1? What is sine inverse of 1 in trigonometry?
So 90 degrees.
Pi by 2.
Pi
You
by
followed,
two.
right? So so which means, so if psi lies from minus 1 to 1, it is as good as saying that you are minus pi by 2 less than your sine inverse of psi less than or equal to pi by 2. This is the meaning of that expression. Okay, so now if you so your phi, say, is 1 by delta pi by 2 minus sine inverse of psi. Okay, so this is our expression. So now when this your sine inverse, say if it is pi by 2, what happens? So pi by 2 minus pi by 2, what happens? Now, so this is if psi is 1 and minus 1. So what happens to your sine inverse of psi? So this becomes, it can become pi by 2 or it can become minus pi by 2 actual. So there are two chances are there. So which means so and your phi is basically a real quantity only. So phi is only real quantity and it lies between 0 or pi by delta actually. If it is plus pi by 2, minus pi by 2, then this comes. If it is minus pi by 2, say minus minus gets cancelled. So 2 pi by 2 gets cancelled and finally you will have pi delta and phi imaginary term. Okay, so this is not 0 actual. So phi is basically a real quantity when psi lies from minus 1 to plus 1. Okay, so now we will consider the other case also. Okay, so when psi is greater than 1. Okay, so now we are having a mathematical relation is there. So where so if you are having a sine inverse function, say, so you can write this as minus log, so I times eta plus 1 minus psi square. So these are a relationship actual. Okay, so you can find in standard complex variable textbooks here. So your arc sine x, say, so your sine inverse of x, you can write in this format and you can do some algebra here, and why we can write this expression as so sine inverse of x. So when psi is greater than 1, say, so you can write this expression based on this trigonometry, pi by 2 minus I log of psi plus psi square minus 1. Okay, so now which means your phi, say, is nothing but so I into 1 by delta log of, so substitute in that phi expression we have psi square minus 1. So which means your phi real part, say, so your phi is no more real, so real part is 0 and your imaginary part, say, is given by 1 by delta log of psi plus psi square minus 1. Okay, so this is our value. Sorry. Okay, so full it is imaginary. Now suppose other cases psi is less than minus 1 also. So this also you do some algebra here, so you can find out your sine inverse of x psi can be written as minus pi by 2 minus I log minus psi square minus 1, and you can write as a phi real portion, say, as pi by delta, and your imaginary portion 1 by delta, so log of minus psi minus psi square minus 1. Okay, so this is, and of course this is less than 0. One can also prove also because psi is less than minus 1. So these are the bounds. When psi is from minus 1 to 1, then psi is less than minus 1, then psi is greater than 1. So you have three cases are there. So now in the first case actually, when minus 1 to 1, what is happening? So your phi imaginary term is 0. So only thing is it is basically a real portion. Now when psi is greater than 1, say, so then your real part is 0, imaginary, so whole your phi itself is imaginary. When psi is less than minus 1, say, So it has a real part and it also has the imaginary part, but the imaginary part is usually less than 0 itself. So 3 cases are there. So now we have to compare this with our wave number and then with our frequency, so to derive our dispersion relations. Okay. So I think I will stop here. So almost it is a 3:15. Okay. So we will continue in our tomorrow's class itself. So if you have any questions, you can ask me.